Hi everyone, this is Heidi. Welcome back to my channel, and I have caught the Women's Prize for Fiction fever. In watching everyone's videos about the long list for the Women's Prize for Fiction, I've become completely obsessed with all of these books. I'm not really sure why, but for some reason it's just captured me this year in a way that it hasn't in previous years. So I had a library trip already planned for this weekend, and I figured I would try to find as many books as I could on the long list. And then I would bring them home and I would do a try a chapter tag video with those books. So I had already on my TBR pile, Elinor Oliphant is Completely Fine. So I picked this up last night and I read the first 5 chapters. So I'm on page 48 with this book, and I really am enjoying it. I'm really engaged in it. This Elinor Oliphant is quite a fascinating character. I'm very interested to find out more about why she is the way she is and why she's, you know, so socially awkward. And so I will definitely be continuing on with this one. Although I will say I was surprised that for a prize list pick, I'm not finding this book very difficult or challenging to read. It's pretty straightforward. In fact, it's reminding me a lot of a Frederick Bachman book, which I love the Frederick Bachman book, so that's not a negative or a criticism in any way. I guess that I just expect that prize list books are going to be more challenging than regular books, but been very pleasantly surprised so far with this one. So I will be continuing on with that. And then at the library today, I was able to pick up 3 books that are on the long list. And I've placed an interlibrary loan request for 3 others and put myself on the hold list for The Ministry of Utmost Happiness by Arundhati Roy. So the ones that I was able to find today at the library, in which I'll be doing the Try the Chapter tag with, are Homefire by Kamila Shamsie, Sing Unburied Sing by Jesamyn Ward, and The Idiot by Elif Batuman. Sorry, I probably butchered that. So what I'm planning to do is I'm going to stop this video right here, and I'm going to go read a chapter, and then after I've read a chapter, I will come back and give you my impressions, and then I will pick which of these 3 I think I will continue on with after I finish Elinor Oliphant. So let's just get to it. The first book I tried was The Idiot. This is a college campus novel, I would say. I don't really know much about it. I didn't read the blurb on the jacket copy, so I just started reading it. And our main character has just started college at Harvard. She's feeling a little bit lost and overwhelmed, which I totally understand. This book doesn't have chapters, so I just read the first 20 pages and then came to where there was a break. The breaks are basically, let's see if I can find one. I probably won't be able to. There's basically just spaces between the sections, and sometimes there's little dots in between the sections. Can you see that? Right there. Yeah. And it's divided up into, this is a fall section, and then there'll be another part 100 pages on that's spring, and so on and so forth. So I read the first 20 pages. She's just started college at Harvard. She's kind of lost, kind of doesn't know what she's doing, which I could relate to. It reminded me very much of when I started college and how I felt. She has 2 roommates, one of whom is kind of frantic and wild and really loud, and then one that stays in the other room and doesn't really interact with the 2 of them. And she's just kind of going along and trying to get herself into the classes that she wants and trying to figure out what she's going to do with herself. And so I don't know much more than that in the first 20 pages, but I enjoyed the writing style. I was interested in what was going to happen to the main character, and I was very, just wanted to keep reading. So when I got to the 20 pages, I actually wanted to just keep reading this book rather than to stop and to film this little section of the video. So I think that's a positive sign for this one. But I'm going to set it down now, and I'm going to go on and try one of the others. Okay, so the second book I tried was Sing Unburied Sing by Jesamyn Ward, and I read the first chapter of this book, which was from JoJo's point of view. I believe most everyone knows the background of this story, and that it is told in alternating chapters from JoJo and his mother Leonie's perspective. In the first chapter, JoJo is 13 years old, and he's telling us basically the story of setting the scene of his life. We get to meet his mother, Leonie, his dad, Michael, his grandparents, and his little sister, Kayla. And JoJo is a caretaker. He's been taking care of his little sister. You don't know for sure yet, but his mother and father are pretty much absent. You find out at the end of the chapter that his dad's been in prison. And his mom is clearly not mothering the two kids, which is why they live with the grandparents and why 13-year-old JoJo basically does most of the caretaking for his little sister. The writing is very beautiful, very evocative. The way that she writes the scenes, you can, they live on a farm and you can smell the barnyard. You can really hear the animals, the goats bleating and the horse neighing and all of that. It all comes to life. JoJo is a very sympathetic character. You really feel for him and the situation that he's in through no fault of his own. His little sister Kayla is adorable. His grandmother, Ma'am, is sick with cancer, and the description of her in her sick bed and his stoic grandfather, Pops, is just very, like I said, evocative is the only word that I could come up with. Very, very touching and draws you in, and definitely made me want to keep reading. Again, didn't want to stop when I got to the end of this chapter, so I think this is going to be quite difficult to pick what my next read's going to be. But let's move on to the third book. Okay, last one is Homefire by Kamila Shamsie. This one starts out with our main character Isma in the airport and enduring a very long interrogation as she attempts to fly back to America from Britain to continue her studies. That she had left to come home to Britain to take care of her two twin siblings when her mother and her grandmother died. So it's been several years since she's been in America, but she's headed back there with a teacher, an advisor that she knew in the past to sponsor her. But she's got to get through this interrogation at the airport first. That was quite interesting. Isma is Muslim. You learn that right from the beginning as you hear her being interrogated, and you see that scene of them going through her luggage and all of her things to, I don't know, to see what they can find, I guess, in there. And then she does make it back to America, and then the rest of the first chapter is all about her settling in her new circumstances, and she ends up meeting a man randomly that she knows of from her past. And in amongst all of this activity of her settling back into her, resuming her life basically in America, you're starting to learn a little bit more about her siblings. You're starting to learn a little bit more about her life growing up. You don't really learn very much. It's all very intriguing. You're trying to figure out, what's going on with her brother and her twins. She had these two twin siblings that she has, a boy and a girl, and her brother has done something, and Isma is no longer speaking to him. And so you're kind of trying to figure out what's going on with that. I did like this. I was intrigued by it. I do want to continue to read and find out more, but I wasn't as sucked into the first chapter of this as I was to Sing, Unburied, Sing, or The Idiot. So I can say that this is, the one that I want to my least favorite out of the three, but not that it's bad or that I don't want to continue to read it, because I actually do. I actually am quite intrigued to find out what happens with Isma and these secondary characters that we're starting to learn about. But I think between the two of Sing, Unburied, Sing, and The Idiot, I'm probably going to continue with Sing, Unburied, Sing. Not least of which because it's quite a bit shorter than The Idiot, so I could get through it more quickly. But also just because I really loved the writing in this. It really sang. The descriptions really came alive for me. I really am intrigued to find out what's going on with JoJo and his mom and all the rest of these characters. I just want to continue to read to find out what's going on with them. I think there's a bit more drama that came through right from the first chapter than did in either Homefire or The Idiot. Those ones feel more of a slow burn than this one, which feels more like there's just drama right from the get-go with this family. So after I finish Elinor Oliphant, I am going to continue on with Sing Unburied Sing, then I will probably read The Idiot, and then I will probably read Homefire unless the library comes through with some of the other options on the Women's Prize long list. So that was my Try a Chapter tag, Women's Prize edition. I hope you get something from my little descriptions of the books. Maybe you found yourself a little more interested in one of these 4 books than you had been previously. I would love to hear if you are planning to read any of the books that are on the Women's Prize for Fiction long list, and if so, which ones most intrigue you. So that is it for me tonight, and I will talk to you later.